Well, my Steam gamers, we have reached a point in gaming where game directors and game companies tell you in advance that their game is going to be full of glitches and janks, and you just have to accept it because why not? Guys, this is incredible, and this comes off a recent interview that the game director for Avowed has spoken about some of the game's features and aspects, which of course some of them are cool, but other ones were like, what the hell are you people talking about? So Avowed now can hit 60 FPS on Xbox Series X, which is basically a miracle for them, but the director said in your face, yes, but expect some jank at launch. Basically, the game may be broken in some areas and they want to preemptively mentally prepare you so that when the game does show their janky face and you have issues and glitches and whatnot, you cannot complain to the devs because they told you in advance. Is this the new trend? Is this how gaming companies like try to push their excuse that, oh, we did everything we could, but we failed here because it was just so difficult to make a game, so please forgive us for the crappy jank on a title? I mean, this is just incredible, right? And of course this company is owned by Microsoft, so they have plenty of cash dollars to work on optimization. As reported by GameSpot, Avowed director Carrie Patel recently took part in a rapid-fire interview about the game on the MinMax podcast, which revealed a fair bit of what to expect when it launches. One of the questions that's asked is about how Avowed is going to run, something that's been up in the air for some time, as it was previously confirmed that it was only going to be 30 FPS. So Patel took the chance to confirm that Avowed can now indeed run at 60 FPS on the Xbox Series X only, suggesting that the Xbox Series S, the little sister of the console, is only going to be able to run at 30 FPS, most likely. Patel has also pretty open about how Avowed, check this out, I mean this is crazy, she was pretty open about how Avowed is going to perform outside its frame rate, nothing that players should expect bugs and jank, noting that the players should expect bugs and jank. So she already said that if you're going to play the game outside the the target performance, which is the 30 FPS, which is what they built the game on effectively, right, then you're going to have a lot of glitches and problems because most likely they did not optimize it properly. So they just unlocked the 60 FPS, but they didn't really spend time actually optimizing that for the game, for the console. Again, this just is crazy from my point of view that this game, which is being advertised by Microsoft for months and months and months, they're allowing the game to release with jank, which is just crazy, right? Now, as the article says on The Gamer, although anyone who has played Obsidian games knows what to expect, Patel defends the jank as being a necessary part of doing something fun and creative, quote unquote. Are you kidding me? It seems that despite having a refreshingly bright color palette, Avowed isn't going to be focused on visual fidelity and steady performance. So that's really problematic. I mean, she said the following: you gotta accept a little jank to do something fun and creative, I think. What do you mean, you think? This is just ridiculous. Now, as for how janky Avowed is going to be, we'll have to wait for the game's release and launch and reviews, of course, to see how the hell is this going to even play on the Xbox consoles. Now, I don't know about you guys, but honestly, when a game company tells me that I should expect a bunch of jank in my game, because why not? Because, they have problems in optimizing the game, they don't have the right people, they just don't have the budget, whatever. This just tells me lazy development. I'm really sorry, but that's the truth. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, just recently, for example, I've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance, right? And the game, I installed it on day one and I didn't have any janky issues. I'm playing it on PC, of course. I don't know how a console's performance is, to be honest. I'm playing it on PC, and on PC is just flawless. Like literally there's no problems, no issues, no frames kind of hanging on, no issues with like shuttering, and that it's just perfect, like perfection, right? So again, this is a company which I believe Warhorse Studios is actually smaller than the Obsidian studio, most likely. Plus Obsidian has the backing from Microsoft, right? So if Microsoft knows that the game is going to be janky on launch, you would think that, hey guys, let's just fix it, let's just delay it for another 6 months, let's just make it perfect, because again, you only have one chance to impress in these sort of games. Like, don't take the example of No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky kind of recovered because the developers put in a lot of time into the game, and the game is a persistent game. It's a persistent game. It's almost like game as a service, although it's free to play after you pay for the game. But in Avowed, because it's not like a persistent game, so to speak, if you have a bad impression at the beginning, people are not gonna come back to the game, because there's no reason to come back to the game, because the game is limited in scope. So again, with a single player game like this one, you only have literally a single shot at making it right. And if you release the game on consoles and it's gonna be a shit show, what's gonna happen? Well, of course, people are going to lose faith. From mouth to mouth, we're going to talk about this, and people are going to say, you know what, I'm not going to buy it because my friend said the game is crappy on consoles. So again, you are literally just shooting yourself in the foot at this point by doing that, unless Microsoft doesn't even care anymore and they just care about the PC population and the PlayStation population, because most likely Avowed is going to be released on a PlayStation console at some point in the future. I mean, if they're releasing Forza Horizon 5, right? Do you think they're not gonna release Avowed? Of course they are. They're just waiting for the right moment. So honestly, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if literally the game comes out on the PlayStation consoles, better optimized, maybe 6 months or 1 year down the line, and it's even better playable than it is on the Xbox consoles, because it looks like these people are actually rushing the game. They are rushing the game just so they can give us that 60 FPS which people have been asking about. But this is the main issue here. You cannot release a game in this day and age only with 30 FPS in mind, because gamers are tired of the 30 FPS. 30 FPS, it's laggy as hell. Like, if you play games in 60 FPS, and you know this, right, in performance mode on the PlayStation console, for example, right, you never want to go back to the graphics mode, because it's janky, it's like slow, it's like, it just feels like almost like you're playing like a slow-mo version of the game, and it just doesn't feel right, like the stuttering and everything. I mean, I play, for example, just one example, right, the Final Fantasy game, the remake on the PlayStation 5, and I tried both modes, and even though the 60 FPS mode didn't have that much detail when you were walking around and looking at the houses and whatever, when you play these games, you don't actually just stay and look at the landscape. You actually play, you fight, you run, you jump, you do action, lots of combat effects. So literally, you don't have time to look at the smaller, high polygon details of the sea or the mountains or the freaking grass. That's not the point, right? The point is to play the game and have fun with it. So again, these developers don't get that people don't care about the fidelity and the level of pixels on a specific, image of nature, whatever, or like the pixels on the house and in the city and the alleys and the enemies. They care about action, they care about effectively performance, they care about fluidity of the gameplay, and 60 FPS is always going to be king. So the fact that these people waited so long to optimize it, or to start optimizing it to 60 FPS, just tells me the incompetence of these individuals, because that is just crazy. They should have built the game with 60 FPS in mind from day one, because 2/3 of gamers prefer 60 FPS, and that's shown by statistics. Like 2/3 of gamers who play on console, they always choose 60 FPS, because that is literally the best way to play a game, because it's more responsive, the action is smoother, and it just feels better. I mean, as simple as that, right? But guys, that's it for this video. As always, I shall see you later in the next videos.